Hi, I'm Siti, the advisor at CCG.
Hi, I'm Aishtal, a candidate for today's mock interview.
So I'll be giving you a market entry case.
Sure.
So our client is Indian label producer, and they want to expand their operation overseas.
All right. Just to clarify, my client is an Indian label producer and they want to expand their operations in the overseas.
Yep, you are required to suggest some strategies for the same.
Sure. So, before I begin structuring my approach, I would like to ask a few clarifying questions.
Sure.
Could you please elaborate more about the label producer and what type of works operations do they have currently?
So it's like a music label company where they sign artists and then they help publish their songs and upload on various platforms like YouTube, Spotify, etc.
Got it. And in which geography do they currently operate?
So most of our operations are in India and they only sign Indian artists for now.
All right. And in terms of the market share, how much market share do they currently hold in India?
You can expect our client to be a prominent player. They have been operating for over 20 years. They just want to expand overseas to
Sure.
expand.
And do we have any information about the competitive landscape? Our competitors, like what are the who are our competitors in the overseas, and what is their market share currently?
There are no specific competitors, but maybe you can help us figure out which places and geographies to approach first.
Sure. I would like to take a minute to structure my approach now.
Sure.
All right. So I would like to begin by structuring it into three subheads. First would be the financial attractiveness, where we would look at the market growth rate and the current profits that we could make out of that market. Second would be the operational feasibility. We would analyze of where the client can set up it in the value chain. And third would be to analyze some risks and how can we mitigate them. So is there any particular head I should start with, or can I start with the financial attractiveness?
So maybe you can give us a more qualitative view of where our client should start with and how they should approach
All right.
expanding overseas rather than going into the numbers of profitability and stuff.
Sure. So I would analyze the operational feasibility then.
Sure.
So in terms of the value chain, we will have four stages. First would be to get the government licenses and to get all the regulations done, which are required to operate in the overseas countries. Second would be to get the customers on board with us. So it would involve the customer acquisitions, costs, and other factors. Third would be the distribution of the songs on our platforms. On how many partners do we have, on how many channels do we provide to our customers in order to distribute the songs. And third would be the marketing of the same. So
Yeah.
is there any particular that is the client looking to enter, or should I analyze each one by one?
No, so I was expecting more along the lines of which geographies or which countries our client should target initially.
All right. So in terms of geography, we can break it down into four regions: the northern sector, the western, eastern, and the southern. So
Okay.
is there any particular geometry that we are looking to enter?
No, you can analyze all of them.
All right. So under each geography, I would like to look at the who are the customer segments that we can potentially target over there,
Mm.
and how much market share can we expect from that from that geography.
Sure, that sounds like a fair
S-
approach.
Sure. So starting with the northern geography, do we have any information on who will be our potential customer segments over there, and what are their specific needs from a music label company?
Um, Sorry, what do you refer? What do you mean by like northern geographies?
So maybe we can consider the continents like Asian and the North Americans.
So entire continents fall under northern geographies, right?
Yeah.
So it would be better if you like break it down into countries or like specific geographies we could approach.
All right. Sure. So under the northern sector, we can look at the Asian countries, the Europe sector, and the Middle East countries.
Okay.
Is there any particular that we are targeting?
Maybe you can provide us with recommendations on which would be the most attractive for our client.
Sure. So in order to provide that recommendation, I would like to know which the current sector is leading in terms of producing more songs and is more inclined towards the music industry.
Could you elaborate? I didn't get your question.
All right. So since each geography will have its own preferences about the
Hmm.
music that they listen, so is there any particular geography which like more inclined towards listening to music and producing more new songs and such?
So right now we only sign Indian artists, and maybe you can think along the lines of different languages or other artists we can approach in order to expand overseas.
All right, sure.
Maybe you can walk me through what you're thinking.
So I'm thinking to now segregate them by the languages.
Okay.
So we can think of onboarding the English artists,
Hmm.
the other languages such as German, Spanish, French.
Yeah, that sounds like a good approach.
Sure.
What
Sure.
would you prioritize first, or maybe structure it down into some actionable recommendations for our client.
All right. So, since we know that English artists comprise a very large proportion of all the artists over the world, so I would recommend the client to first target the Indian artists, English artists all over the across, and maybe not over the across, but a few regions that where they could potentially get those artists in a more proportion.
Okay.
For such, we can target the geographies such as America,
Hmm.
and within it, we can target many countries such as Britain and all such UK.
Fair. Do you have any other recommendations for other geographies we should target?
Sure, I would like to take a minute to
Sure,
think
sure.
about it. So my recommendation would be to first start with the English artists for across the regions of UK, America, and such. And second, for other geographies, the client can think of starting a business either in a brownfield operations or maybe with a joint venture with someone else over there. So initially, they should not expand their operations in for every language. So maybe they can start off with the English first and try in a brownfield such as acquisitions over there and or in a joint venture.
What do you mean by brownfield operations in a music label industry?
So brownfield operation would include acquiring a small music label that would be present for that language in that regions.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I think you can move over to like the risk that our client might face.
Sure. I would like to take a few seconds to
Sure.
structure it. All right. So I would like to analyze the following risks for the client. First would be that since there are no competitors currently, hence in those regions there may be no government regulations that are currently set up. So once we enter into that market, there may be more government regulations, more stricter regulations uh, that may hamper the client's growth over there. Second, as we enter, there would be more competition that will follow us, and this could lead to our market share going down.
Mm.
Third would be that entering the section of other languages with the type of operation that we are targeting, such as brownfield or the joint venture, it may not succeed in the long term because of less customers over there and high operational and the capital expenditures.
Fair. Um, could you like summarize the case and like synthesize your recommendations accordingly for our client?
Sure. So our client was an India label producer, and they are looking to expand in the overseas countries. And upon analyzing, we figure out that they wanted to enter into the other languages, such as the English artists or the other artists. So we figure out that entering into the section of English artists would be preferable at first, since there is a large proportion of customers over there. And in terms of the risks, they have no competitors as of now. But in the coming years, when they would set up the operation, more competitors might come up, which may lower down their revenues. And for the recommendation side, I would recommend the client to first for target only the English sector, and for the other geographies and locations, they can look for brownfield operations, acquisitions, and the joint ventures.
Okay, and thank you for your time. We will communicate the same to our client.
Thank you.
So, so this was basically a slightly unconventional market entry case where the candidate was required to figure out which geographies our client should enter. So in this type of cases, mostly I think the candidate should focus on being as exhaustive as possible in terms of preliminary question to figure out what exactly the interviewer wants from them. I think on that regard, the candidate did well in asking the basic preliminary questions and then went in straight into the framework of which type of geography they should enter. So a couple of suggestions on that. Firstly, I think the candidate should have been more clear on like what is the end goal for the company, as in which geographies they should enter. Secondly, I think in terms of breaking down and like structuring, geographies could have been probably split better according to either languages or the income of the country, rather than just vague classifications of north, south, east, west. Thirdly, I would say whenever you are recommending clients, in such case of such interviews, you should ideally be as exhaustive as possible and give as much and basically think as much as to why your recommendation is true. As in, this helps the interviewer realize that you have been as exhaustive as possible, and probably gives you brownie point. For example, in countries like US, Canada, you could mention there are lots of migrant population, so they might prefer Hindi listening music. Similar, like Middle East, etc., will also have migrant population. Probably in countries like Canada, you'd prefer some Punjabi artists. Like all this type of brownie points just adds up and helps you improve your case a lot. Yeah, that was mostly it. Thank you.